Okay guys, so can't get the new microphone to work. I'm not doing something right. I'm not doing something correct, so I'll have to go get the instructions. So here are the vegetables that I've got. Bumper snoot. Okay, so here are the vegetables that I have. These are spinach, kale, bunching onions. I got some leeks in there, and some Brussels sprouts. Here are the mums. So as you can see, when I was picking them, I didn't realize that some of them weren't red, so I'll have to get ones to replace those. But for the most part, they're red. So I'm going to be putting them in the driveway beds. So let me take you over there. Okay, so these are the mums that I planted last year. Now, I did not think they were going to come back. They did. As you can see, they've come back with a vengeance. Each of these little plants were the size that I just showed you. So this is the amount of growth that they put on. This is the amount of growth they put on in 1 year. And so I have enough to line the entire driveway bed on this side and that side as well. There's a couple that died, so I'm gonna fill in something right there. So next year, they'll be bigger like this. And so I'll have to cut them back to kind of make a nice even hedge, but I really like the type of hedge that's making. It's really, really cute. I never considered doing a chrysanthemum hedge, but now that it's here, I absolutely love it. So basically I'm using my foot as the spacer. So let's see if I can even get down here. So basically I'm gonna put the hole right there where my foot is and just kind of do that the whole way down. Hopefully this weekend I'll also get to be able to plant these hydrangeas in the hedge. Because they need to get in the ground. So that's the plan right now, guys. So I'm gonna get my drill. I'll set up the camera and I'll let you guys watch this, and then I'll go on to the next task. And I'll put Bumper Snoot on his little pillow. Okay guys, so while I am putting the chrysanthemums in the ground, I thought I'd give you guys a history of chrysanthemums from the Beginner's Handbook that is published by the National Chrysanthemum Society. So if you guys have been watching me for a little bit, you guys know that I'm definitely getting into heirloom type chrysanthemums. And so it's really fascinating because they've really gone out of favor, but there are some hardcore fans who are trying to bring them back and keep them from dying out. And now that I'm kind of late to the chrysanthemum game because I didn't know there was all these varieties, but now that I'm here to stay, and I'm about to plant chrysanthemums in a big way. So here's a little bit about chrysanthemums. So chrysanthemums originated in China, and they were under cultivation for more than 2,000 years ago. And the flower became fashionable between 355 and 417 AD. The Chinese thought of them as flowers for meditation, and it was popular on the art forms of the day. They constantly put their images on vases and in paintings. Now, chrysanthemums reached Japan in 386 AD under Emperor Kintoku, and they were labeled as kiku. In 1910, that's AD, Emperor Uda proclaimed the chrysanthemum the national flower of Japan and instituted the Imperial Chrysanthemum show. During the 12th century, a bloom containing 16 florets called Ichimono Ginu was adopted as the imperial crest. So the Chinese chrysanthemum varieties were being grown in Holland in 1689, and the French initiated new forms and imported varieties from China in the late 18th century and early 19th century. The chrysanthemums made their way to England, and they first appeared in 1764, and then by 1802 through 1808 they started to import them. So the first public chrysanthemum exhibition in England was in Norwich in 1843, and then the National Chrysanthemum Society of UK was formed in 1884. The first chrysanthemum known in the United States was the 1798 importation of dark purple, and the first exhibition of chrysanthemums was in 1830 at the Massachusetts Horticultural Society. So during the early years, chrysanthemums were flowered in the fall under natural flowering conditions. With the large number of varieties appearing on the market, growers were soon able to lengthen this flowering season by selecting early, mid, and late season flowering types. In 1920, W.W. Gardner and H.A. Allard, who were agricultural researchers, determined that day length affected the time of the flowering and the growth of plants. Practical application of this basic research to year-round chrysanthemum culture was developed mainly by agricultural researchers A. Laurie, G.A. Posh, and Kenneth Post in the 1930s and 40s. This development has made chrysanthemums one of the most popular and widely used year-round plants in the floriculture industry. So now let's talk about the chrysanthemums of today, which are basically highly evolved flowering plants. Chrysanthemums are members of the Asteraceae. It's also called the Compositae family. The chrysanthemum, which is also known as Dendranthema, is related to dahlias, sunflowers, marigolds, zinnias, and cosmos, which certainly explains a lot about why chrysanthemums do look like each of those flowers. The bloom, which appears as a single flower, is actually hundreds of flowers called florets. Two kinds of florets are present in a single bloom: disc florets and ray florets. On a daisy-type chrysanthemum, the outer parts are the ray florets, and the center or eye is composed of disc florets. So for ease of identification, the National Chrysanthemum Society divides bloom forms into 13 classes. So the classification is based on the type of florets and their growth patterns. So the nice thing about chrysanthemum cultivars is that they can be trained into different forms. So for example, there are some bonsai forms which can be trained into miniature form like trees, and basically it'll be like, the typical bonsai that takes, almost like a lifetime to grow, and you can achieve a bonsai in like a year. And then some cultivars you can train into hemispherical forms, or you can actually almost like topiary them, and you can train them to look like a dog, a table, a chair, or even the human form. And then there are some cascading cultivars that you can grow as long pendulous drapes, or you can train into large fans, pillars, or trees. So it's a very versatile plant, and so I would urge you to go to the National Chrysanthemum Society website, look at the different cultivars. The only place in the United States that really does all of these specialty forms is King's Mums in North Carolina, and their website will be open at some point in time in January. So anyway, guys, I hope you found that interesting, and I hope you enjoyed watching me work. So there's more chrysanthemums out there than you see at fall and Lowe's, so do some research and start collecting your cultivars today. So I'm going to go to Lowe's and I'm going to get a brush cutter attachment for my weed whacker, because there's raspberry canes and all that kind of stuff, and it'll make it much easier just to take it all back. I don't know how to, that's the thing with raspberries, I don't know how it got over in that area, but it's just encroaching. So I have not been good this year about keeping it under control, mostly because I was planting the parterre garden. But next year, everything will be in place. So I should be able to get on a good schedule of, keeping the weeds down and also keeping those raspberry canes as well as the pokeweed back there in control. So I'm going to take a break, go inside, grab something to eat, and then I'm going to head on to Lowe's. So I'll check in with you guys later.